Hello, you're watching News Mongolia on MNB World, and I'm your host, Jargalma Tufshinjargal. On the News Mongolia today, Mongolia's President Khurelsukh begins a state visit to Türkiye. Alcohol consumption among adolescents is on the rise. The number of citizens seeking medical treatment abroad, as well as the outflow of money, continues to increase. For the news, stay tuned. Mongolian President Khurelsukh has arrived in Ankara for a state visit to the Republic of Türkiye at the invitation of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan.
President Khurelsukh, accompanied by his spouse Bolortszak and an official delegation, was welcomed at Ankara's Istanbul International Airport by Turkish Minister of Interior Ali Yerlikaya and Mongolia's ambassador to Turkey, Muhbayir. The visit marks the 55th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the two nations and is the first state-level visit by a Mongolian president to Turkey in 21 years. During the visit, the two presidents will hold bilateral meetings and official discussions and provide statements to the press. The agenda includes the signing of over 10 bilateral agreements covering areas such as education, youth and sports, health sciences, environment, mining, transportation, infrastructure, forestry, and legal cooperation. Mongolia and Turkey established diplomatic relations on June 24th of 1969. The Mongolian embassy in Ankara opened in 1997, a year after Turkey established its embassy in Ulaanbaatar. The two nations enjoy a comprehensive partnership. Notable high-level exchanges include visits by Mongolian President Baghband to Turkey in 1998 and 2004, and Turkish President Süleyman Demirel in 1995, and Ahmet Nishtet Sezer in 2002 to Mongolia.
Professional organizations estimate that over 100,000 people in Mongolia suffer from alcohol addiction. Surveys indicate that more than 80% of these individuals started drinking alcohol in their teenage years. Additionally, a study conducted by the National Center for Mental Health has confirmed that early alcohol exposure significantly increases the risk of developing addiction disorders. Experts emphasize the need to implement a step-by-step approach to reduce alcohol consumption among teenagers. The Addiction Department at the National Center for Mental Health operates with a total of 46 beds. Generally, patients are hospitalized for 10 to 14 days, depending on the severity of their symptoms. Annually, around 1,400 patients are admitted for inpatient treatment. In addition, the Addiction Clinic runs a day treatment program. This program includes both treatment and education over 14 days. Patients with mild conditions, such as intoxication or light withdrawal symptoms, are treated on an outpatient basis without the need for hospitalization. Initially, patients stay for 10 to 8 days to detoxify and stabilize, which helps alleviate their condition. During this period, they also receive education on alcohol addiction. However, due to the influence of their physical state or confusion, patients may not fully understand the information at this stage. Therefore, the continuation of treatment is provided through the day treatment program, which follows the Minnesota model, a treatment program for substance abuse that emphasizes abstinence and recovery. The day treatment program has been in development since 2016 and is now in its 10th year. On average, over 800 individuals actively participate in the program. These participants have learned to celebrate major events and holidays without alcohol, often substituting milk for alcohol and establishing healthier habits. Promoting healthy living habits and setting examples for adolescents is a crucial part of preventing the future risk of alcohol addiction and other related disorders. By helping young people build these habits, we can protect them from potential future issues and addiction. Out of the 1,400 individuals who participate in the program, 90% are diagnosed with alcohol addiction. Of these, 60 to 70% are in the advanced stage of addiction, showing signs of delirium and confusion. Generally, individuals aged 30 and below make up 25 to 35% of the cases. When patients are asked about when they first started drinking alcohol and when they began excessive consumption, most report that they started drinking at the age of 16 or 17. Therefore, early alcohol use in adolescence significantly increases the risk of developing alcohol addiction later in life. A rising tide of Mongolians seeking medical treatment abroad highlights the story of Ullanbaysakh, a distinguished oboe musician and teacher who is fighting stage 4 stomach cancer. Despite groundbreaking contributions to the arts and mentoring a new generation of talent, Ullanbaysakh now faces her greatest challenge, relying on urgent overseas treatment and the unwavering support of her family, friends, and the arts community. Ullanbaysakh, a teacher at the Mongolian Conservatory, graduated with a red diploma in oboe performance and teaching from Russia and is considered a valuable asset in classical arts. In 2023, Ullanbaysakh was diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. At that time, she underwent a complete stomach transplant surgery, followed by 6 courses of chemotherapy. However, in 2024, the cancer metastasized, and she was informed that treatment in Mongolia was no longer possible. Meritorious teacher Shirchunbatar spoke highly of Ullanbaysakh as a young artist, shaping the future of the arts by mentoring many professional artists.
After studying for more than 10 years, obtaining a bachelor's degree, and then continuing for a master's and a doctorate, it takes 15 to 18 years to fully develop a musician. Ullanbaysakh is a high-level artist who has gone through all these stages. It is heartbreaking to see such a passionate young talent forced to step away from her work due to severe illness.
Ullanbaysakh urgently needed treatment and traveled to South Korea with her sister. Meanwhile, her husband, Muksakhang, took on the critical responsibility of trying to raise funds for the treatment, estimated at 300 million Mongolian tugruks, while also caring for their 3 children.
We managed to overcome the first surgery 2 years ago with all our resources. This is a challenge that has come into my life, and what gives us hope is that recovery is possible. The opportunity for treatment exists, and that is why we are striving to pursue it. We aim to live a full and healthy life together. Her students, colleagues, and everyone at the conservatory who knows her are waiting for her return. I believe she understands this well and is moving forward with determination. Of course, emotionally, this is incredibly difficult for me. I cannot let myself feel down or depressed in front of my children or my friends. It's tough, but the most important thing is to strive for a complete and united family life, right?
Ullanbaysakh's colleagues, friends, and those connected to her through the arts have shown their unwavering support, demonstrating how much they value her dedication and perseverance in her craft. Thank you for staying with us. Here is the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Next, our program will turn our attention to foreign news, partnered with international news agencies. President Joe Biden, speaking addressing from the Oval Office for the final time as president, touted the ceasefire and hostage deal that was struck on Wednesday. The farewell speech is one of several events Biden is doing as he winds down his time in the White House. He gave a speech at the State Department on Monday, where he talked about his foreign policy legacy.
He did a few interviews, he named the new national monuments, he issued new rules on America's use of artificial intelligence, and he announced Wednesday that a ceasefire had been brokered between Israel and Hamas.
My fellow Americans, I'm speaking to you tonight from the Oval Office. Before I begin, let me speak to important news from earlier today. After 8 months of nonstop negotiation, by my administration, a ceasefire and a hostage deal has been reached by Israel and Hamas, the elements of which I laid out in great detail in May of this year. This plan was developed and negotiated by my team and will be largely implemented by the incoming administration. That's why I told my team to keep the incoming administration fully informed, because that's how it should be, working together as Americans. This will be my final address to you from the American people from the Oval Office, from this desk as president. And I've been thinking a lot about who we are and maybe more importantly, who we should be. Long ago in New York Harbor, an iron worker installed beam after beam, day after day. He was joined by steel workers, stonemasons, engineers. They built not just a single structure, but a beacon of freedom. The very idea of America was so big, we felt the entire world needed to see. The Statue of Liberty, a gift from France after our Civil War. Like the very idea of America, it was built not by one person, but by many people, from every background and from around the world. Like America, the Statue of Liberty is not standing still. Her foot literally steps forward atop a broken chain of human bondage. She's on the march, and she literally moves. She was built to sway back and forth to withstand the fury of stormy weather, to stand the test of time because storms are always coming. She sways a few inches, but she never falls into the current below. Working together as Americans.
Biden chose to speak from the Oval Office, the most presidential of presidential venues. He said at the Resolute desk, photos of his family behind him, the First Lady, his son Hunter, Butt, and other family members stood in the office as he delivered his speech. Not every president does it. In the past, President Barack Obama went to his home in Chicago for his farewell speech. George W. Bush spoke from the East Room. Donald Trump never conceded his election loss 4 years ago, but he delivered a pre-taped address that was made public on January 19, 2021.
We felt the entire world needed to see.
On Wednesday, Canada's outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau commented on the Israel and Hamas agreement to pause fighting in Gaza and begin releasing hostages, saying it offers hope for a lasting political resolution, a two-state solution where Israelis and Palestinians can live side by side in peace, safety, and dignity.
Canada stands ready to do whatever it can to ensure the success of this agreement. But more than that, this ceasefire gives us hope. Hope that we can now focus our attention on a true, lasting political solution to this conflict, a two-state solution with Israelis and Palestinians living side by side in safety, security, and dignity. And hope that here in Canada, we can turn down the temperature, truly listen to one another, and ultimately rebuild the relationships between various communities which have been deeply damaged since October 2023. For Palestinian, Israeli, Lebanese, Jewish, and Arab Canadians, I know this war has been deeply hurtful, and I hope that today's news brings some solace, some relief.
Mediators say Israel and Hamas have agreed to pause in fighting in Gaza and to begin releasing the hostages held there. If the ceasefire holds, it could eventually bring an end to the bloodiest and most destructive war ever fought between Israel and Hamas. When it comes to potential U.S. tariffs, he said that if the American administration moves forward with them, it will harm American citizens and consumers, but will also hurt Canadians. Trudeau said that if the new U.S. administration brings in the tariffs, Canada will try to get them lifted as quickly as possible, utilizing all necessary tools to defend Canadian interests.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Goodbye.